Chapter 2371. Next, Lu Ming and the others ended their seclusion and paid close attention to the movements of the outside world. 10 days later, the experts of the Heaven Realm sent out a message to gather all the high-level great emperors and head to the core area together. It wasn't that those experts were so kind and wanted to reap the benefits together, but they needed strength. Even if they killed the 4 divine beasts, they would have to face the experts of the evil god tribe later. They had to increase their strength. Otherwise, they would be annihilated by the evil god tribe after killing the 4 divine beasts. Lu Ming bade farewell to Emperor Wuxia and the others and headed in a direction. After flying for a long distance, they arrived at a mountain valley. In comparison, this place was rather secretive. When Lu Ming arrived, he found that there were already many people gathered here. More than 300. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He was a little shocked. There were already more than 300 living beings gathered here. This number was very shocking. One had to know that almost all the people here were high-level great emperors. These people were from various races. The human race was the most, and there were also various divine beasts. Although most of them were in human form, Lu Ming could still sense them through their aura. Is Lu Ming. When Lu Ming arrived, someone recognized Lu Ming and revealed a look of shock. Lu Ming actually dared to come here. One had to know that those who could come here were high-level great emperors. Could it be that Lu Ming already had the strength of a high-level great emperor? Impossible. Most of them shook their heads, thinking that Lu Ming was just here to try his luck. However, there were a few people who looked serious. This was because the news of Lu Ming easily killing a 4-star great emperor expert in the giant tower had spread. Some of them had heard of this matter. Lu Ming arrived, walked to the side, and waited patiently. As time passed, more and more people came. Gradually, the number exceeded 500. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a little Taoist looking around furtively. If it wasn't Dandan, who else could it be? Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Dandan had indeed come to the Void Sacred Island. Wherever there were treasures, this guy would definitely be there. Dandan. Lu Ming called out. Who is it? Dandan jumped in fright and looked around. When it saw Lu Ming, it revealed a smile and flew over. So it's you. Why? Have you broken through to the Great Emperor realm? You dare to come here? Dandan's attention to him. You. This guy was indeed one of the top 10 combat beasts. It was very knowledgeable, and could tell some of Lu Ming's secrets at one glance. You've improved tremendously. Lu Ming laughed. Deep in his eyes, there was a hint of surprise. Dandan's cultivation was unfathomable in his eyes. Needless to say, this guy had reached the Great Emperor realm a long time ago. Moreover, he had reached a very high level. Ha ha ha, then you should know who I am. Dandan grinned. Of course, the two of them chatted through telepathy to prevent others from eavesdropping on their secrets. The two of them had not seen each other for a long time, and were chatting casually. Later on, the number of people who came here gradually decreased. 3 days later, there were more than 600 people gathered here. They were all high-level great emperors and above. Any one of them would be an expert in the outside world. Everyone. At this moment, a group of people stepped out. There were about a dozen of them. Their auras were profound and unfathomable. They are all peak great emperors. Dandan sent a telepathic message to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded secretly. These people were probably the strongest group of people in the heaven boundary. A burly man with a bearded face looked like a lion. He looked around and said, "Let me introduce myself. My name is Hongshi." He paused for a moment and said, "Now let me tell you what we need to do. In the depths of the Void Sacred Island, there is a place that is most likely the real dojo left behind by the owner of this island. However, there are indeed 4 divine beasts guarding it. The 4 divine beasts have the legendary bloodline of the 4 divine beasts. Their combat strength has reached the Heavenly Emperor realm. First, our goal is to get rid of the 4 divine beasts. Of the 4 divine beasts, 2 have been guarding the core area, while the other 2 have been patrolling and cruising outside. Therefore, we only need to get rid of 2 of them. As for the 2 cruising beasts, we only need to send someone to attract their attention." Send someone to attract their attention? Many people's faces darkened. It was definitely very dangerous to send someone to attract the two cruising divine beasts. Who would be willing to do it? Hongsher saw through everyone's thoughts and said with a smile, "You don't have to worry about this. We have already sent people out. They are all experts in speed and life-saving abilities. They will be enough to attract that divine beast for a period of time. As for the other divine beast, we will leave it to the evil god tribe. This time we've discussed it with the evil god tribe. Of the 4 divine beasts, each side will deal with 2. Now that the one roaming outside has been dealt with, the next step is to deal with the 2 divine beasts guarding the core area. Similarly, we and the evil god tribe will deal with 1 divine beast each. In the end, we will enter the core area and fight for the treasures with our own abilities." Hongsher spoke a long string of words, and everyone nodded, understanding the gist of it. "It's about time. Let's set off now." After Hongsher finished speaking, he took the lead and flew toward the Void Sacred Island. More than 600 experts followed him. They had already sent someone to attract the attention of 1 divine beast. Naturally, they knew the safe route. Therefore, they were very fast and flew toward the Void Sacred Island. They were not afraid of encountering that divine beast. A day later, they had already arrived at the central area of the Void Sacred Island. Here they slowed down. Soon they came to a mountain peak and looked into the distance. There was an area in front. It was misty as if it was shrouded in fog. Even with their eyesight, they could not see through the fog. There was only a huge arched door in the south. This arched door was open. From afar, they could see a stone staircase behind the arched door. This is the core area. However, the fog is formed by a great array. We can't enter at all. If we want to enter, we can only go through that arched door. However, as long as we appear, those 2 divine beasts will also appear. Therefore, we have to deal with those 2 divine beasts first. Hongsher explained. The people from the evil god tribe should also be here. I will go and contact the people from the evil god tribe. Later, we will move together and deal with 1 divine beast each. A white-haired old man said. Then his figure flashed and he left. Not long after, the white-haired old man returned. The people from the evil god tribe have arrived. 10 minutes later, we will attack together. The white-haired old man said. Everyone nodded and waited patiently. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes passed. Let's go, Hongsher said. Everyone retracted their auras and flew toward the core area. Chapter 2372. So many people. Many people's hearts sank. They realized that there were about 900 people from the evil god tribe, which was a few hundred more than them. The experts from both sides quickly got close to the core. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Lu Ming and the rest were nearing the core area, there was a violent roar in the fog. The ground was shaking continuously. Then a huge monster appeared. It was a huge tortoise. This tortoise was even bigger than a mountain. It had a thick tortoise shell on its back, a dragon head, and a snake tail. It was very similar to one of the 4 legendary divine beasts, the black tortoise. Roar. The black tortoise let out a loud roar, and the ground shook. Countless rocks started to move, turning into stone swords that slashed at them. Sacrifice the Heaven Dao soldier. Hongsher shouted. He waved his hand, and a purple gold battle sword appeared, emitting a shocking aura and pressure. 5 or 6 peak great emperors attacked together, and their great Daros and world energy infused into the purple gold battle sword. The purple gold battle sword let out a sword cry, and it grew rapidly. This was the Heaven Dao soldier. 5 or 6 peak great emperors joined forces to control the Heaven Dao soldier. Although they couldn't unleash the full power of the Heaven Dao soldier, it was still terrifying. The purple gold battle sword vibrated, and a faint Heaven Dao pressure spread out. At the same time, purple sword chi burst out, shattering the stone swords of the black tortoise. In addition, some peak great emperors took out another Heaven Dao soldier. This time they borrowed a total of 2 Heaven Dao soldiers. The second Heaven Dao soldier was a round bead. It was as black as ink, but its power was also terrifying. 7 or 8 peak great emperors controlled this Heaven Dao soldier. The black bead became huge, and it suppressed the black tortoise. More than 10 peak great emperors controlled 2 heaven Dao soldiers to attack the black tortoise. The black tortoise roared, and a shocking aura burst out. The ground shook, and endless rocks and soil formed all kinds of attacks, attacking the 2 heaven Dao soldiers. An intense battle broke out between the two sides. Roar! At the same time, a dragon roar came from another direction. A huge azure dragon appeared, and its body was winding. Its aura was wild, and it charged at the evil god tribe. The evil god tribe also took out 2 heaven Dao soldiers, and they fought with the azure dragon. Boom! Boom! On the heaven realm's side, the 2 heavenly Dao soldiers exploded with terrifying power. This kind of power had completely surpassed the Great Emperor level, and entered the Heavenly Emperor level. The 2 heavenly Dao soldiers attacked at the same time. They immediately destroyed some of the black tortoise's attacks and attacked it. Clang! A purplish gold sword beam slashed at the black tortoise. However, the black tortoise moved its body and the sword beam slashed at the tortoise shell, leaving only a shallow mark on it. Such a strong defense. The people from the heaven realm had ugly expressions on their faces. Boom! At this moment the black bead also came crashing down, but the black tortoise still managed to avoid being hit in its vitals. When the bead hit the tortoise shell, the black tortoise only trembled slightly, and was forced back a few steps. At this moment, a wail rang out from afar. The azure dragon had been struck by the evil god tribe's battle weapon, and a deep wound had appeared on its body. Now that the azure dragon was injured, the evil god race gained the upper hand. Damn it, our luck is too bad. We actually encountered the black tortoise. Hongsha roared furiously, somewhat unwilling to accept this. It was not that the black tortoise was stronger than the azure dragon. The difference in strength between the two was not big. With the 2 heavenly Dao soldiers, they should be able to suppress the other party, and even kill it. However, the black tortoise's defense was too strong. The black tortoise was known for its defense. The black tortoise's defense was far above the azure dragon's, and its vitality was tenacious. It was even harder to deal with. Before they attacked, they were afraid of encountering the black tortoise. Unexpectedly, they really encountered it. Everyone attacked together. Hongsha roared, calling for everyone to attack. Kill, kill. Everyone made their move. There were more than 600 of them, and all of them were high-level great sovereigns. When they attacked together, their power was shocking. Beams of dazzling light bombarded the black tortoise. However, the black tortoise's head and limbs directly retracted into its tortoise shell. When all the attacks landed on its tortoise shell, only intense rumbles could be heard. The black tortoise was completely fine. It could not break the other party's defense at all. More than 10 peak great emperors controlled the heavenly Dao soldiers to attack, but they were also blocked by the other party. However, the moment the people from the heaven realm stopped attacking or weakened their attacks, the black tortoise would immediately counterattack. With the black tortoise's strength, it was a great threat to them. Not far away, the azure dragon let out a mournful cry. Another wound appeared on its body. The azure dragon's defense was far inferior to the black tortoise's. At this moment, it was retreating step by step. It was only a matter of time before it was defeated. Ha ha ha, this treasure land will belong to us. The people from the evil god tribe laughed heartily. As long as they killed the azure dragon first and entered the core area first, the treasures in the core area would be theirs. Attack together. On the evil god tribe's side, they also called for everyone to attack together. With 800 to 900 high-level great emperors attacking together, it was simply apocalyptic. Immediately, the azure dragon's injuries worsened. Wounds kept appearing on its body, and its aura became weaker and weaker. It was increasingly not a match for them. Damn it! On the heaven realm's side, many people roared angrily. If this continued, they would not be able to obtain anything. Wouldn't the evil god tribe benefit from this? Even if they benefited others, they could not let the evil god tribe benefit. It seems like I have to personally take action. At the side, Dandan spoke. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Dandan was one of the top 10 battle beasts, the world divine turtle. It was also a turtle, and it was a peak existence among the turtle species. Even the real black tortoise was only on par with Dandan, Not to mention that this one only had some of the bloodline of the real black tortoise. Dandan soared into the sky, and its body underwent a drastic change. It directly turned into a giant turtle. Then, its body grew bigger and bigger, almost filling up the entire sky. The turtle's shell was covered with mysterious patterns, as if it was a world of its own. Junior, why aren't you kneeling when you see me? Dandan looked at the black tortoise, and a huge pressure pressed down on the black tortoise. The black tortoise's eyes were filled with shock and fear. This was the fear of a lower being facing a higher being. Although Dandan's cultivation was inferior to the other parties, the world divine turtle was definitely at the top of the turtle species. Attack. At this moment, Hong Shi and the others seized the opportunity to control the heavenly Tao soldier and attack the black tortoise. The black tortoise was intimidated by Dandan's aura. Its mind was shaken, and its movements were much slower. Instantly its head was hit. Poof! The purple-gold heavenly Tao soldier was incomparably huge. The entire sword was inserted into the black tortoise's head. The black tortoise's turtle shell had astonishing defensive power. However, its head and limbs had very weak defensive power, even weaker than other divine beasts. They were its weak points. Chapter 2373. The others immediately seized the opportunity and launched a fierce attack. Boom! The huge black bead pressed down and bombarded the black tortoise's head, causing it to be injured even more. Following that, the attacks of the experts from the heaven realm also landed on the wound on the black tortoise's head, causing it to be injured even more. Roar! The black tortoise howled. Finally, its huge body charged towards the crowd. Everyone's expression changed. The black tortoise fought back with all its might. If they were hit by it, they would definitely be smashed into pieces. Everyone dodged. The black tortoise took the opportunity to retract its four limbs and head into its shell. Then, like a ball, it actually rolled into the distance and escaped. Everyone looked at each other. They didn't expect the black tortoise to escape directly. Everyone thought that the black tortoise would protect this place with its life. Perhaps, it was the effect of the world turtle. Everyone looked at Dandan and guessed in their hearts. The black tortoise might have been frightened by the world turtle. In addition, it was heavily injured, so it escaped. Dandan had been wandering in the heaven realm all these years. Many people had already heard of his name. Haha, the black tortoise has escaped. Let's go in. Someone laughed loudly and rushed towards the arched door. Damn it! The people from the evil god tribe roared. They originally thought that they would have the upper hand, but they didn't expect that the heaven realm would have the upper hand. Kill, kill, kill. The people from the evil god tribe were anxious and attacked with all their might. Instantly, the injuries of the azure dragon became even more serious. Its dragon claws were cut off. Lu Ming and the others had already arrived at the door. The arched door was very huge. It was at least 10,000 meters tall. A few hundred of them could easily pass through. Their eyes were burning as they rushed into the arched door. At this moment, Dandan had already transformed into his human form and rushed into the arched door with Lu Ming. Behind the arched door was a mountain. In front of them, there was a stone staircase that led to the top of the mountain. As soon as they walked into the arched door, they immediately felt an incomparably terrifying pressure. That pressure was the same as the pressure in other places of the Void Divine Island. It could suppress the heavenly Tao. However, the pressure here was even stronger. In other places they could still fly. But here, they found that they couldn't fly. Even walking was difficult. Bang! Bang! Someone took a step forward and walked up the stone staircase with difficulty. Since he couldn't fly, he could only walk. Lu Ming and Dandan also climbed up the stone stairs. That pressure was too strong. Their walking speed was extremely slow. Only the peak martial monarchs fared better. They were the fastest, climbing the stairs one step at a time. Some 4-star great emperors were as slow as snails. Lu Ming's speed was considered above average among these people. Lu Ming, your speed can't keep up. Dandan took a few steps forward. His speed wasn't any slower than those peak stage great emperors. Dandan, you've become a peak great emperor? Lu Ming asked. No 6-star martial monarchs, but I'm sure my strength is on par with theirs. Dandan looked confident. Everyone used all their strength to climb, but not long after, the members of the evil god race still managed to rush in. Evidently, the Azure Dragon was also killed by them. The 800 to 900 members of the evil god race also started to climb, but they were also under great pressure. However, some of the peak stage great emperors were still very fast. They continued to move forward and soon surpassed the 4-star great emperors of the heaven domain. What is that? A statue. After walking for a while, they saw a body at the end of the stone stairs. It was obviously a statue. The statue was of a middle-aged man. Although it was just a statue, it still had a domineering aura. That pressure seems to be coming from that statue. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He really had this feeling. It seemed that the pressure was coming from that statue, and was even spreading throughout the entire Void Sacred Island. After a while, the peak stage great emperor of the heaven domain who was walking at the front had finished climbing the stone stairs. He walked to the top and disappeared. Everyone was anxious and climbed with all their strength. After a while, Lu Ming finally reached the end of the stone stairs and reached the top. There were also some peak stage great emperors of the evil god race who were similar to him. At the end of the stone stairs was the peak of the mountain. However, there was nothing here except for a statue. The statue emitted a terrifying pressure. The dozen or so peak stage great emperors of the heaven domain who had stepped on the stone stairs earlier stood under the statue with a gloomy expression. Boom. Boom. After arriving here, the pressure was even stronger. Every step they took would cause the ground to rumble. What's going on? What did you get here? An expert of the evil god race questioned the experts of the heaven domain. There's nothing. There's nothing on this mountain top except for this statue. A peak stage great emperor of the heaven domain said. There's nothing. The experts of the evil god race had gloomy expressions. They had borrowed the heavenly Tao weapon and spent a lot of effort to come here. In the end, there was nothing. It would be strange if their expressions were good. This statue, what race does it belong to? As for Lu Ming, he sized up the statue curiously. Now he was completely sure that the terrifying pressure of the entire Void Sacred Island, which could suppress the heavenly Tao, was coming from this statue. It was just a statue, but it could emit such terrifying pressure. It was really shocking. Needless to say, this statue was most likely carved by the master of the Void Sacred Island, that supreme existence. In fact, it might have been carved by that supreme existence himself. Moreover, this statue had a very strange appearance. This statue was in the shape of a human. It was a middle-aged man and was very handsome. However, there was a pair of snow-white wings on his back. The wings were covered with snow-white feathers. When they spread out, they were full of pressure. His hands were pressed on the hilt of a huge battle sword. The battle sword was inserted into the ground. Could the master of this statue be a bird-type divine beast? Lu Ming guessed. That's not right. Normally, if a divine beast leaves a statue behind, it will leave behind a statue of the divine beast's original body. However, for this kind of human-shaped divine beast with wings, they usually won't leave it like this. I guess that the original body of this existence looks like this. Dandan said. The original body looks like this? There doesn't seem to be such a race in the heaven domain, or the primordial realm. There shouldn't be such a race in the evil god race either. Lu Ming was full of doubts. Maybe it's a race that appeared countless years ago. Or maybe it's from other worlds. No one knows if there are other worlds in this world besides the heaven domain, primordial realm, and evil god realm. Dandan said. Other worlds? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Suddenly his imagination ran wild. While they were chatting and observing, more people climbed up the stone stairs and looked around curiously. Unfortunately, they found nothing. There was really nothing on the mountaintop except for this statue. Chapter 2374. Both sides faced each other and were cautious, but they did not attack. Now there was nothing here. If they fought and got nothing, wouldn't it be a loss? Maybe this statue has a secret. After a while, someone spoke and stared at the statue again. There was nothing here other than that statue. If there was an opportunity, it could only fall on this statue. I'll break it. A cold voice sounded, and an extremely burly evil god tribe member stepped out. In his hand was a battle axe. It was as black as ink, but it emitted a terrifying sharpness. Heavenly Tao soldier. Everyone was shocked. All Taos returned to one. Whether it was the nomological system, the ancient cultivation system, or the evil god tribe, they would all come into contact with the heavenly Tao at the end of their cultivation. In other words, after reaching the heavenly emperor realm, the various major systems were actually very similar. The heavenly Tao soldier contained the heavenly Tao, and was the supreme weapon common to all systems. The supreme weapon used by the evil god tribe was also the heavenly Tao soldier. Lend me a hand. The burly evil god tribe member looked at the other evil god tribe members. Immediately, 5 or 6 evil god tribe members walked out. They were all peaked arch existences. A total of 7 peaked arch evil god tribe members controlled the battle axe at the same time. Buzz. The battle axe vibrated violently, revealing its sharpness. The aura of the heavenly Tao was emitted, causing a huge pressure to press down on everyone. But at this moment, something strange happened. The battle axe that had been rapidly expanding seemed to have been frightened, and started to shrink. In the end, it became the size of an ordinary battle axe and fell to the ground. There was no powerful aura at all, and it was like an ordinary axe. Everyone was dumbfounded. The pressure here is too strong. The aura of the heavenly Tao soldier spread out, and was directly suppressed by the pressure here. Someone guessed. Everyone was shocked. It was very likely that this was the case. The pressure on the Void Divine Island was supreme and surpassed the heavenly Tao. It could suppress the heavenly Tao and prevent heavenly emperors from entering. And here the pressure was extremely strong. It was normal for it to be able to suppress the heavenly Tao soldier. The few experts who had borrowed the heavenly Tao soldier had ugly expressions. They had originally wanted to rely on the heavenly Tao soldier to suppress everyone and take the lead. But now, the heavenly Tao soldier could not be used at all. They could only rely on their own strength. The eyes of those who did not have heavenly Tao soldiers lit up. For example, Lu Ming and the others. Without the heavenly Tao soldiers, they had nothing to fear. Even if I don't use the heavenly Tao soldier, I will still kill you. One of the members of the evil god race bellowed in rage as he brandished a gigantic metal rod and rushed up, smashing it towards the statue. The iron rod rapidly enlarged, becoming tens of thousands of meters long. It was incomparably shocking, shattering the void as it smashed down towards the statue. The evil god tribe member who attacked was extremely powerful. He was a peak great emperor. Boom! The huge iron rod smashed into the head of the statue, causing it to vibrate violently. However, the statue was completely fine. Not even a mark was left on it. So hard. Many people were shocked. A peak great emperor's full-strength attack had the power to destroy the heavens and earth. However, nothing happened to the statue. Look, the statue is reacting. Suddenly someone shouted. Everyone's eyes lit up. The statue was indeed reacting. Previously, this statue seemed to have been carved out of ordinary boulders, and the material looked very ordinary. But now, a layer of milky white light appeared on the statue. It was incomparably holy. Swoosh! Suddenly, the milky white light turned into a sword light, piercing through the air. Its target was the member of the evil god race who attacked the statue earlier. That member of the evil god race was shocked. However, he was suppressed by the terrifying pressure here. His speed became extremely slow, and he couldn't dodge at all. He could only take it head-on. Boom! He struck out with the iron rod in his hand once again. The iron rod pierced through the void, smashing towards the milky white sword light. However, the result was unexpected. The sword light flashed, and with a puff, the iron rod was directly sliced apart. The sword light didn't stop, slashing towards the member of the evil god race at an unbelievable speed. Blood splattered everywhere. The sword light directly pierced through the glabella of that member of the evil god race. His eyes widened, filled with disbelief. However, there was no sign of life. His soul had scattered. With one strike, the soul of the member of the evil god race was destroyed. Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. This was a peak great emperor, and he was killed just like that without being able to resist at all. Not good. Many people were shocked and retreated frantically, afraid that they would end up in the same situation. However, after the sword light killed that member of the evil god race, it automatically dissipated. The milky white light on the statue also disappeared without a trace. It was as if that light had appeared to kill that member of the evil god race. It couldn't be humiliated. This statue was the statue of a supreme existence. It couldn't be humiliated. The member of the evil god race who wanted to take out the heavenly Tao weapon to attack the statue broke out in cold sweat. Buzz. Right at this moment, the statue emitted a slight vibration, causing everyone's heart to suddenly tremble and raise their guard. Then, everyone saw that the statue's eyes had changed. At this moment, the statue's eyes were no longer made of stone. Instead, they had become two vortexes. The left eye had become milky white. The right eye was pitch black. In the next moment, rays of light extended out from the two eyes and turned into two paths. Two paths. One led to the left eye, and the other led to the right eye. Why did the statue's eyes suddenly turn into two paths? Could it be that there was another world in the statue's eyes? Were there treasures only inside? Many people started to ponder. The left is the path of life, and the right is the path of death. Life can also lead to death, and death can also lead to life. Choose one. Suddenly, a voice rang out. It came from the statue. Everyone was shocked. It seemed that this statue was really not that simple. It seemed to know that they were coming. Two paths. One is the path of life, and the other is the path of death. Everyone sized up the two paths, and their eyes flickered. There might really be fortuitous opportunities inside. This was a fortuitous opportunity left behind by someone who surpassed the heavenly emperor. How precious would that be? Such a supreme existence could refine heavenly Tao weapons. Even if he left behind some trash, it would probably be an unimaginable treasure to them. Many people revealed greed in their eyes. But for a moment no one moved. This was because no one knew if there would be danger if they stepped on the two paths. The path of life and death. Life could also lead to death, and death could also lead to life. No one could be sure. Everyone wanted someone else to go first. Everyone fell silent, looking at each other. Finally, someone could not bear it anymore. He gritted his teeth and stepped forward. At this moment, a divine beast from the heavenly realm walked toward the path of life in the left eye. In the end, it went unexpectedly smoothly. Chapter 2375. The path of life in the left eye had no abnormalities and entered smoothly. This made many people's eyes light up. With the first one, there would be a second one. Then, another person stepped toward the path of life in the left eye. It was an expert from the evil god race. Like the previous person, there were no abnormalities. He successfully entered the milky white vortex in the left eye and disappeared. Then even more people entered the left eye. However, there were also some people who revealed doubtful expressions. Was it really that easy? Then what was the meaning of the other path? Lu Ming and Dandan also had the same thoughts. Only by putting oneself in a desperate situation can one obtain a great fortuitous encounter. I will take the path of death. Someone spoke, his eyes flashing with madness. He stepped forward and actually walked toward the path of death. Many people looked toward this person. They all wanted to see if the path of death would really lead to death. Bang! That person stepped onto the path of death. His body trembled violently, and his complexion instantly turned pale, as if he had suffered a heavy blow. Then he screamed miserably and his body flew backward. He fell heavily onto the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. However, he did not die. He was still alive. What is there in the path of death? Someone immediately asked. Pressure, incomparably heavy pressure that bombards the physical body and soul. That person only said one sentence and immediately sat down cross-legged, circulating his energy to treat his injuries. Pressure? In that case, it might not necessarily be a path of death. As long as one can withstand that pressure, the path of death is also a path of life. Many people's eyes lit up. From then on, some people walked toward the path of death. This was because many people thought so. The path of life was too simple. There might not be any benefits in entering it. Perhaps, the great fortuitous encounter would be in the path of death. Then, there were people who continuously stepped toward the path of death. However, the path of death in the right eye had an astonishingly strong pressure. Those who stepped on it were all sent flying, finding it difficult to continue. "I'll do it." A burly evil god race member roared and stepped forward, stepping onto the path of death. Bang! Bang! With every step he took, there would be intense tremors. His entire body trembled, clearly under great pressure. However, he gritted his teeth and did not stop, slowly approaching the right eye. In the end, he reached the end. He took a step forward and entered the right eye of the statue, disappearing without a trace. Success. Finally, someone successfully stepped into the right eye. It seems like 6-star martial monarchs should be able to enter. Lu Ming muttered. That evil god tribe member from earlier was a 6-star great emperor. Following that, more and more people entered the path of death. However, if one was not a 6-star great emperor, it would be impossible for them to reach the path of death. At the very least, one would need to be a 6-star great emperor to reach the path of death. Lu Ming, which path should we take? Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Of course it's the right eye. Lu Ming said. Can you do it? Dandan pursed his lips. Why don't you give it a try? Lu Ming smiled. Bang. After saying this, Lu Ming stepped forward, heading towards the right eye's path of death. Boom. The moment he stepped on it, a terrifying force acted on him, penetrating every corner of his body and even his soul. At this moment, Lu Ming's body trembled non-stop. At the same time, 17 types of laws covered his body, resisting the external pressure. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was slightly weaker than a 6-star great emperor, Lu Ming's defense was definitely not weaker than a 6-star great emperor's. Although it was very difficult for him to walk, he moved forward step by step at a steady speed. He was very determined. Dandan followed behind Lu Ming. This guy seemed to be quite relaxed. Although his cultivation was only a 6-star great emperor, his battle strength was definitely comparable to a peak great emperor. He could even suppress a peak great emperor. After a while, Lu Ming finally approached the right eye of the statue. Phew! Lu Ming let out a long breath, feeling sore all over. Under the terrifying pressure, he had also suffered some injuries. However, under the effect of the indestructible ancient scripture, his injuries were recovering rapidly. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped into the pitch-black vortex in the right eye. He immediately felt the world spinning around him, as if he had just taken a long-distance teleportation formation. Following this, Lu Ming discovered that he had arrived in a huge secret chamber. The secret chamber was extremely huge, spanning over 10,000 li, as if it was a world on its own. On top of that, as soon as Lu Ming entered the place, he immediately discovered that the pressure acting on him had disappeared without a trace. It was as easy as when he was in the Taiching Heaven domain. Lu Ming could feel his body brimming with energy. With a quick glance, Lu Ming discovered that the people who had entered the right eye were all flickering back and forth in the secret chamber, as if they were trying to find something. However, this secret chamber was completely empty. There was nothing inside. Not even a speck of dust could be seen. Meanwhile, not far away from Lu Ming, a figure flickered and Dandan appeared. As soon as Dandan appeared, his eyes immediately scanned the place, but he soon wore a disappointed look. There's nothing here. Did we guess wrong this time? We came here for nothing. Dandan wore a bitter face. Let's wait and see. Lu Ming rubbed his nose. They had really come here for nothing this time. Everyone waited patiently. As time passed, more and more people entered the secret chamber. Almost all the top experts of the evil god tribe and the heaven domain had entered the secret chamber. Other than Lu Ming, they were all 6-star great emperors and 7-star great emperors. There were a total of 60 to 70 people. After a few hours, no one had entered the secret chamber. Obviously, those who could enter had all entered. We won't be unable to get out, right? Suddenly someone spoke. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and their expressions turned ugly. Indeed, although the secret chamber was huge, it was surrounded by stone walls, and no one had any way out. They wouldn't be trapped here forever after coming in, right? Everyone looked at each other, and some of their faces turned pale. Dead end. They thought that the right eye was a dead end. Could it be true? Buzz. Just as everyone was feeling uneasy, the void vibrated slightly, and many patterns appeared. Then these patterns formed a figure. It was a young and beautiful woman. What was strange was that this woman also had a pair of beautiful snow-white wings on her back. She was extremely similar to that statue. Everyone looked at this woman curiously. "I'm the spirit of this place." The young woman spoke. "Spirit of the formation." Lu Ming's eyes flickered, and he thought of the huge pagoda from before. It had also given birth to a spirit of the formation. It seemed that the formations in this place were too advanced and had been around for too long. They had even given birth to sentience. "I was created by my master back then. My master is the original body of this statue, an unparalleled and invincible figure. This place is the eye of my master's statue." The spirit of the formation explained. "Senior, where is your master now?" Someone from the heaven domain asked. The owner of this statue was an unparalleled expert, even stronger than the heavenly emperor. If he was still alive, it would have a great impact on the war between the heaven domain and the evil god tribe. Whichever side he chose to stand on, that side would win for sure. Chapter 2376. The Matrix Spirit pondered for a moment and said, "My master left countless years ago." Left? Many people were puzzled. What did she mean by left? Did she mean that he left the Void Sacred Island? "Yes, I once heard my master say that he had completed his task and was going to leave this world and go back." The Matrix Spirit tried to recall. This? Everyone was even more puzzled. Left this world? Went back. Went back where? Did this world refer to the heaven realm, the primordial realm, the evil god realm, or all of them? Only Dandan showed a trace of shock and anticipation in his eyes, but he hid it well and no one noticed. "When my master left, he said that after he left, his training ground would be found by someone sooner or later. If someone enters this place, they can give away some of the useless things he left behind back then. It can be considered a kind of fate. Also, let me tell you, you can only get it from the right eye. If you enter the left eye, you won't get anything." The Matrix Spirit said again, blinking her eyes slyly like a young girl. Many people's eyes suddenly lit up. This was a useless item left behind by an unparalleled expert. It might be useless to him, but to others, it would most likely be an unparalleled treasure. "Since you have gotten the treasures, leave this place. Leave this island. I don't want anyone to disturb my master's training ground. When the time comes, all of you will have to leave." The Matrix Spirit spoke again. This time, after she finished speaking, a small silver-white bag appeared in her hand. She opened the bag and poured it out. Suddenly, balls of yellow light flew out of the bag. Those were storage rings and storage bracelets. They were covered with a layer of yellow light, like stars in the night sky. Everyone's eyes were burning with passion. These storage rings and bracelets were definitely not empty. They most likely contained treasures. "It's mine! It's mine!" A loud roar rang out. Everyone couldn't hold themselves back and rushed out, rushing towards those storage rings and bracelets. "Get lost! You're courting death!" Suddenly, a fierce battle broke out, and a fierce battle unfolded. In this place, there was no distinction between the evil god race and the heavenly realm. This was because everyone had selfish motives and wanted to take the treasures for themselves. A civil war broke out between the evil god race, and they were killing each other. There was also a civil war between the creatures of the heaven realm, killing each other. Ah! A miserable shriek rang out as a 6-star great emperor from the evil god tribe was chopped into two by another evil god tribe member. He died on the spot. The other was a human from the heaven realm. His body was torn apart by a true dragon from the heaven realm. Tragic. In this place, there were only treasures and no factions. Lu Ming and Dandan also moved. Lu Ming dashed forward and grabbed a storage ring that was glowing with a yellow light. Dandan, on the other hand, pounced on a storage bracelet. Die. One of the members of the evil god race roared in rage and charged toward Lu Ming. This evil god tribe member had the cultivation of a 6-star great emperor. His battle prowess was extremely astonishing. Wang. Lu Ming's muscles vibrated rapidly. At the same time, he used the 6 feathered divine wings to increase his speed to the maximum. Swoosh! With a flash, Lu Ming dodged the attack of this evil god tribe member. He appeared beside the storage ring and grabbed it. Courting death. That evil god tribe member was enraged and charged toward Lu Ming crazily. His third eye shot out a ray of destructive light and turned into a ferocious beast. He roared and pounced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not fight head-on. Instead, he continued to use his movement technique to dodge the other party's attack. Lu Ming could fight against a 6-star Great Emperor with his own battle prowess. However, he was most likely not a match for the other party. There was no need to waste his energy. As for the Heavenly Emperor's physical body, Lu Ming did not want to use it yet. This was because the formation spirit was still floating in the air and holding on to that bag. Who knew if there were any higher-grade treasures in that bag? He would think about it again when there were higher-grade treasures. On the other side, Dandan had also successfully obtained a storage bracelet. His battle prowess was extremely strong. With just a few moves, he had blasted a 6-star Great Sovereign to the point where he vomited blood and obtained the storage bracelet. After he obtained the storage bracelet, he set his eyes on another storage bracelet. Lu Ming's figure flashed rapidly. He dodged the attack of that evil god tribe member and rushed toward another storage ring. Beside this storage ring, there were 2 6-star Great Emperors fighting over it. These 2 6-star Great Emperors, one was from the evil god tribe and the other was an expert from the Heaven Realm. The two of them fought nonstop and were extremely intense. Both of them were injured. Lu Ming rushed over and alarmed the two of them. Don't even think about it. The two of them attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming raised his speed to the maximum. His muscles vibrated billions of times per second. His 6 feathered divine wings flapped rapidly, and he successfully dodged one of the attacks. However, Lu Ming did not dodge the other attack and was hit. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He directly rushed over and took the attack head-on. Boom! Lu Ming was hit. His body shook violently as if his body was about to be torn apart. However, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and took the attack head-on. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to recover. Because of this, Lu Ming appeared beside the storage ring in a flash and kept it. Lu Ming successfully took 2 storage rings. Hand over the storage rings. Courting death. The 3 experts who had their storage rings taken away by Lu Ming were all filled with killing intent as they charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to heal his injuries while dodging their attacks. At this moment, the entire secret chamber was in the midst of a massacre. 6-star Great Emperors and 7-star Great Emperors were killing each other. There were people dying constantly. It was extremely tragic. As for those storage rings and bracelets, they were all taken away. Soon there were only a few storage rings left on the field. Kid, hand over the treasures. A purple-haired middle-aged man stared at Lu Ming and charged toward Lu Ming. His battle strength was shockingly strong. This was a peak Great Emperor. Moreover, he was from the royal family of the evil god tribe. His strength was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming's expression changed. Facing such an expert, if he did not use his heavenly emperor body, he would not be a match for him. Now is not the time. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. His figure flashed rapidly as he dodged the other party's attack. Do you think you can escape? You will die in my hands. The royal family member of the evil god tribe said coldly as he charged toward Lu Ming. This caused the 3 6-star Great Emperors who were chasing after Lu Ming to stop with a look of fear. Die your sister. Let me take you on. At this moment, a disdainful voice rang out. Then, a huge palm slammed down toward the royal family member of the evil god tribe. The palm was covered with all kinds of runes that interweaved with terrifying power. The royal family member of the evil god tribe struck out with his palm and collided with the palm. An earth-shattering explosion erupted. Then, the royal family member of the evil god tribe trembled and retreated continuously. Swoosh! Dandan appeared beside Lu Ming. Chapter 2377. Seeing Dandan arrive, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Dandan's combat strength was indeed strong. He actually defeated a royal member of the evil god tribe in one move. Moreover, it was a peak great emperor. The royal member of the evil god tribe stared at Dandan with purple light flashing in his eyes. He said coldly, "World Divine Turtle, that's good too. I'll get rid of you today to prevent you from becoming a disaster in the future." Boom. A resplendent purple light erupted from the royal member of the evil god tribe. It was incomparably dazzling, like a purple flame burning fiercely. Endless runes shone on Dandan's body. A world slowly appeared in his body. The battle between the two sides was about to erupt. But at this time, the storage rings and storage bracelets that Zhenling poured out earlier were all snatched away. "Don't worry, there's more." In the sky, Zhenling chuckled, picked up the bag and poured it out again. This time, balls of yellow light flew out from the bag again. This time, the number of balls of light that flew out was not many, only a dozen or so. However, the light emitted by each was incomparably resplendent, 10 times more dazzling than before. Within each ball of light was a weapon. There were close to 20 weapons, and each one emitted a terrifying aura. That was the aura of the Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Tao weapon. Everyone's hearts shook wildly. Blazing flames burst forth from their eyes as they stared fixedly at the close to 20 weapons. To be precise, there were 19 weapons. 19 Heavenly Tao weapons. Mine, it's mine. The Heavenly Tao weapon is mine. Many people's eyes were filled with blazing greed. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Everyone moved at the same time, rushing into the sky. Heavenly Tao weapons were too precious. Many heavenly emperors did not have them. The people here were all 6-star great emperors, peak great emperors. The next step was to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Once they successfully broke through to the heavenly emperor realm, with the Heavenly Tao weapon, their strength would skyrocket. They would be able to stabilize their footing among the heavenly emperors. Even if they could not break through to the great emperor realm, selling them to the heavenly emperors would also be invaluable, who would not be tempted by such treasures. A terrifying battle broke out in an instant. In the previous battle, about a dozen people had died, but there were still about 60 people left. 60 people, and only 19 heavenly Tao soldiers. They were destined to fight to the death. Kill. Kill. This time, it was even more tragic. Those peak great emperors attacked with all their might. In an instant, a few 6-star great emperors were killed. Lu Ming and Dandan also soared into the sky and chose their respective targets. This time, Lu Ming did not hesitate at all. He took out the heavenly emperor physical body right away. Lu Ming merged with the celestial Thearcha's body, and his speed reached the extreme as he charged toward a spear. There were also 3 other people rushing towards the spear. 2 6-star great emperors and 1 7-star great emperor. Kill! Lu Ming shouted as he slashed out with the stone sword in his hand. Bang! A 6-star great monarch was sent flying after being struck by Lu Ming's slash, spurting out mouthfuls of blood. The heavenly emperor's physical body's energy had reached 100%. It was extremely powerful and was not any weaker than a peak great emperor. The other 6-star great emperor was also sent flying by another peak great emperor. Then he pounced on the spear with Lu Ming. Swoosh! Lu Ming was 1 step ahead. He stretched out his big hand and grabbed the long spear, courting death. The peak great emperor shouted coldly as he attacked Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not dodge. This was the heavenly emperor's physical body. It was sturdy and had amazing defense. Unless the heavenly emperor attacked, Lu Ming did not believe that a great emperor could break it. Boom. The other party's attack landed on the heavenly emperor's physical body. The heavenly emperor's physical body shook violently, but he successfully blocked the other party's attack. Lu Ming withstood the attack and grabbed the spear, keeping it in his small world. Hand over the heavenly Tao weapon. The peak great emperor was enraged as he unleashed a storm of attacks. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He ignored his defense and charged forward. When the other party's attack landed on Lu Ming's body, it only made Lu Ming shake a little. Lu Ming did not stop there as he charged forward and slashed out with his sword. The other party was shocked and quickly retreated. However, he was still a step too late. He was swept by Lu Ming's sword and a deep wound appeared on his body. He was almost cut in half. Kill! Lu Ming shouted coldly and took the opportunity to attack. The Heavenly Emperor's physical body's energy was 100%. His combat strength was not weaker than a peak Great Emperor. However, the Heavenly Emperor's physical body's defense was amazing. Lu Ming could completely ignore his defense. In this way, he could completely crush a peak Great Emperor in a head-on battle. The other party was injured and his combat strength was weakened. He was not Lu Ming's opponent. After a few moves, he was sent flying by Lu Ming. Half of his body was chopped off. The other party was shocked and did not dare to fight with Lu Ming. He quickly retreated. Die. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared behind the other party. A palm covered with runes struck towards the other party. Ah! The other party roared. He did not expect a sneak attack from behind. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Bang! The other party was directly hit. His body was torn into pieces and he died on the spot. A peak Great Emperor was killed just like that. The one who killed him was naturally Dandan. Dandan had already seized a heavenly Dao weapon, and that person just happened to retreat to Dandan's side. Dandan directly attacked the other party. Dandan, let's join forces. Lu Ming flew over. Alright, there's one over there. Dandan shouted and flew towards a heavenly Dao weapon. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Over there, a few people were fighting fiercely. The two of them rushed over and directly attacked a peak Great Emperor. This peak Great Emperor was from the evil god tribe. Boom! Dandan struck out with his palm. Endless runes spread out. In his palm, there seemed to be a small world that suppressed the other party. The other party was shocked and hurriedly counterattacked. However, Lu Ming also rushed over. He fought without any regard for his life. He completely ignored defense and slashed out with his sword. Surrounded by the two of them, the other party was instantly defeated. He was slashed into two by Lu Ming's sword. The other party was not dead yet. He retreated in horror. The two of them did not chase. They kept the heavenly Dao weapon, and then rushed towards another heavenly Dao weapon. The two of them joined forces and were invincible. The next heavenly Dao weapon was also obtained. In this way, the two of them each obtained two heavenly Dao weapons. The two of them joining forces also attracted the attention of the others. Some who had a good relationship with them also started to join forces, especially some peak Great Emperors. The 19 heavenly Dao weapons were fewer and fewer. They were all snatched away. That guy obtained two heavenly Dao weapons. Dandan's gaze turned to a purple-haired middle-aged man. That person was the royal evil god tribe from before. This person's combat strength was shocking. He was stronger than ordinary peak Great Emperors. Kill! Lu Ming was very direct. He rushed towards the royal evil god tribe. The energy in the heavenly emperor's body was limited. He had to end the battle quickly. Dandan's figure flashed and also charged towards this person. Chapter 2378. Bastard of the evil god tribe, come and fight me. Dandan shouted. He opened his mouth and spat out a long river. It was like a heavenly river, and also like a battle sword. Boom! The royal member of the evil god tribe emitted a dazzling purple light. A battle sword appeared in his hand. The weapons that the evil god tribe usually used were battle axes, giant hammers, spiked maces, iron rods, and other heavy weapons. Very few of them used swords. Clang! The sword whistled continuously. The royal member of the evil god tribe slashed out two swords at the same time. Two purple sword lights slashed toward Lu Ming and Dandan respectively. A purple sword light collided with the long river that Dandan spat out. There was a loud explosion and the two of them disappeared. However, Dandan had already closed in on the royal member of the evil god tribe and struck out with his palm. As for Lu Ming, he didn't take the other party's sword light head-on. Clashing head-on would consume a lot of energy. Lu Ming wanted to conserve as much energy as possible. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the sword light. Then he charged toward the royal member of the evil god tribe. At this moment, Dandan and the royal member of the evil god tribe had already clashed for the second time. Boom! This time, it was a real head-on collision. Both of them trembled and retreated continuously. However, the royal member of the evil god tribe retreated more. He was at a disadvantage. The royal member of the evil god tribe was shocked. The royal member of the evil god tribe was very strong to begin with. In a battle of the same level, his strength far surpassed other members of the evil god tribe. However, Dandan was clearly only a 6-star great emperor. He hadn't reached the peak of the great emperor realm yet. Yet his battle strength was stronger than his. This shocked him. Die bastard! Dandan charged toward the royal member of the evil god tribe again. His killing intent was incomparably cold. Dandan hated the evil god tribe to the core. In the ancient era, he was severely injured by the evil god tribe and barely turned into an egg. After meeting Lu Ming, he was reborn. Therefore, he had to kill the members of the evil god tribe whenever he saw them. This time, Lu Ming had arrived as well. When the two of them joined forces, the royal evil god tribe was no match for them. Although he tried his best, he was still severely injured and retreated frantically. Come and help me! The royal member of the evil god race roared. The royal clan had an extremely high status in the evil god race. Even in such a situation, everyone wanted to snatch the heavenly Tao soldier. However, there was still a peak great emperor who charged towards Lu Ming and the others. No one can save you. Dandan roared and launched a barrage of attacks. Lu Ming also launched a frenzied attack. Puff! The royal member of the evil god tribe barely managed to block a few moves, but he was ultimately no match for Lu Ming. One of his arms was chopped off with a single sword strike. The other party's storage bracelet was on this arm. Lu Ming used his power of the realm to collect the arm. Bastard, damn it! The royal member of the evil god race roared in rage. All his treasures were in his interspatial bracelet, including the 2 heavenly Tao weapons. No, 3 of them. He had even borrowed one from the heavenly emperor realm powerhouse of the evil god race, which he had used to kill that azure dragon previously. His eyes were red, and his heart was bleeding. Unfortunately, he didn't dare to stay and could only retreat frantically. At this time, the 19 heavenly Tao weapons were all snatched away. Lu Ming and Dandan had the greatest gains, obtaining a total of 6 heavenly Tao weapons. At the scene, there were more than 20 corpses. Among them, there were a few peak great emperors who had fallen here. The remaining people's eyes flickered. Some of them stared at Lu Ming, because Lu Ming and Dandan had indeed obtained shocking gains just now. However, there were even more people who stared at the formation spirit. Their eyes flickered with intense greed. How many treasures were in the bag in the formation spirit's hand? A 4-armed evil god race member's eyes were filled with greed. He had already been blinded by greed. He took the initiative to attack, pouncing towards the formation spirit. Hand over that bag. The 4-armed evil god race member was also a peak great emperor. His speed was extremely fast. At the same time, the 4 weapons in his forearms slashed towards the formation spirit. You actually want to attack me? Interesting. Then I shall send you on your way. The formation spirit muttered. Then, it opened its small mouth and spat out. It was as though a stream of qi was spat out from the mouth of the formation spirit. After that, a shocking scene occurred. That 4-armed evil god race member screamed miserably as his body directly exploded, transforming into ashes that dissipated in the air. Nothing was left behind. Everyone was shocked. It was like a bucket of cold water had been poured on them, extinguishing the fire of their greed. A single breath blew a peak great emperor to death. What kind of strength was this? He is really courting death. This is the formation spirit produced by a great formation set up by a supreme expert. It can borrow the power of the great formation here. Even a heavenly emperor would die, let alone him. Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming, gloating. The others' faces turned ugly. They no longer dared to have any ideas about the formation spirit. I have one last treasure now. I will give it to you too. The formation spirit spoke again. Then the bag was tipped over and a ball of light flew out. This time there was only one ball of light. It was extremely dazzling. It was 10 times more dazzling than the previous heavenly Tao weapons. It was a badge in the middle of the light. It looked very simple and ancient. However, it did not emit any aura. It looked very ordinary. However, everyone's eyes were blazing. The formation spirit was the last to take out the badge. The light on the badge was 10 times more dazzling than the heavenly Tao weapons. According to their previous judgment, the more precious the treasure was, the more dazzling the light on it would be. Although they could not tell what was so special about the badge, it was definitely extremely precious. At that instant, everyone moved and charged toward the badge. Bang! Bang! A terrifying battle immediately broke out. The secret chamber shook violently. Bang! Bang! A few 6-star great emperors were torn apart and died on the spot. The remaining 6-star great emperors were terrified. They immediately backed away, not daring to interfere. With so many people fighting for the badge, the battle was too intense. All the peak great emperors were attacking wildly. If a 6-star great emperor was dragged into the battle, he would definitely die. This time, Lu Ming and Dandan did not make a move. They were preserving their strength. Needless to say, if they made a move now, they would definitely face a fierce battle. Although Lu Ming and Dandan were strong, if they made a move now, they would definitely face the attacks of the other peak great emperors. The best strategy was to wait and see. Of course, it was not easy to do so in the face of such a treasure. It might be 10 times more precious than a heavenly Dao weapon. Who could remain calm? Even the heavenly emperors would go crazy. However, Dandan was an old monster who had lived for God knows how long. He had a strong temperament. He managed to hold it in. As for Lu Ming, he was no ordinary person. He had experienced a lot along the way. His temperament was stronger than many old monsters who had lived for countless years. At this moment, he also managed to hold it in. At the same time, he took out a large number of energy crystals to replenish the energy of the Heavenly Emperor's body. In the previous battle, the Heavenly Emperor's body had lost a lot of energy. It was time to replenish it. Chapter 2379. At the scene, the fight for that token was incomparably intense. Evil God Tribe and Heaven Realm's peak great emperors added together were close to 30. Close to 30 peak great emperors were fighting crazily. At this moment, there was no race, no division. There was only personal greed. The others were all competitors. In such a tragic battle, casualties appeared in a short while. A slightly weaker peak great emperor was torn apart by the other 2 peak great emperors. There was also a very powerful peak great emperor, who rushed out of the encirclement and rushed towards his token. When he was about to get close to the token, he was beaten to ashes by everyone. Peak great emperors fell one after another. Those who did not fall also suffered varying degrees of injuries. Tragic, incomparably tragic. These were peak great emperors. If a heavenly emperor did not appear, who could compete with them? No matter where they were placed, they would be a powerhouse with a chance of becoming a heavenly emperor. But now they were worthless. Some were killed by the enemy, some died in the hands of their own powerhouses. The more they killed, the crazier everyone became. They were already bloodshot. Swoosh. Finally, someone rushed to the side of the token and grabbed it in his hand. This was a true dragon. Its entire body was golden. It was an exceptionally powerful golden true dragon. Its strength was shocking. When he grabbed the token in his hand, he roared and tried his best to break out of the encirclement, wanting to rush out. However, immediately, a few extremely powerful experts rushed over. All kinds of attacks continuously drowned out the golden true dragon. Although the golden true dragon was strong and had astonishing defensive power, he could not withstand it. Wounds appeared on his body, almost tearing his body apart. His eyes revealed a look of fear as he threw the token out. The scene fell into a chaotic battle again. Lu Ming, hurry up and recover. I'll make some arrangements first. Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Then his figure flashed quickly. Runes appeared from Dandan's hand and disappeared into the void. Lu Ming knew that Dandan was setting up a formation. Dandan's control of runes had reached an unimaginable level. As long as he was given some time, he would definitely be able to set up a terrifying formation. Lu Ming kept taking out energy crystals and supreme-grade origin stones to speed up the Celestial Thearka's energy storage. Bang! Bang! Large amounts of energy crystals and peak-grade origin stones that he had obtained from the evil god race exploded, turning into seething energy that was absorbed by the Heaven Empyrean's body. Of course, there was also a portion that was wasted and dissipated into void space. However, Lu Ming didn't mind at all. Normally, Lu Ming would not use such a barbaric method to allow the Celestial Emperor's body to store energy, because it would be too wasteful. A portion of the energy would dissipate if it could not be absorbed. But now he could not care less. In the air, the Array spirit glanced at Dandan with a smile on his face. He seemed to have noticed something, but he did not say anything. At the scene, the fight for the tokens had entered a white-hot stage, and the fighting was exceptionally fierce. Peak Great Emperors were killed one after another. In the beginning, there were close to 30 Peak Great Emperors. Now there were only 20 left. The remaining 20 or so Peak Great Emperors were all injured. Whoosh. At this moment, Dandan appeared beside Lu Ming and said, "How is it? Can you make a move?" "Yes," Lu Ming said. "All right, let's make a move together and obtain the token as fast as we can." Dandan nodded. Almost at the same time, the two of them moved. The two of them charged out at the same time. "Endless world!" Dandan roared. He revealed his original body, which was covered in runes. Then he opened his mouth and spat out a world. It was really a world. However, this wasn't a small world that Dandan had condensed. It was a kind of divine ability. This kind of divine ability was extremely powerful. It was as though a world was suppressing the enemy. Boom. One of the Peak Great Emperors in front of Dandan was already injured. In addition to Dandan's sudden attack, he could not react in time, and was killed by Dandan. There were also two other Peak Great Emperors who were sent flying by Dandan. Whoosh! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and charged forward, waving his hand to grab the token. He and Dandan cooperated seamlessly. Lu Ming grabbed the token in his hand. Courting death. Let go of the token. Kill. Instantly, the other Peak Great Emperors roared and launched terrifying attacks at Lu Ming. Boom. 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 Lu Ming was instantly engulfed by various attacks. The Heavenly Emperor body shook violently and was sent flying. He flew for thousands of miles and crashed into the wall of the secret chamber. However, Lu Ming was fine. The Heavenly Emperor body blocked the attacks of the others. If it were any other Peak Great Emperor, they would definitely die after being hit by so many attacks and their souls would scatter. However, Lu Ming used the Heavenly Emperor body to block the attacks and successfully kept the token in his small world. Still not dead. Kill him. The rest of the people were also shocked. They then charged toward Lu Ming in a frenzy. "Lu Ming, come over and enter the formation." Dandan's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. At the same time, Dandan waved his hands rapidly. Rays of sword light appeared in the void and attacked the Peak Great Emperors. Half of the Peak Great Emperors were blocked by the formation controlled by Dandan. The rest continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming stomped his feet on the wall and charged towards Dandan like a cannonball. Swoosh! 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 Attacks blasted towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming ignored them and allowed the attacks to hit his body. No one below the Heavenly Emperor could break the defense of the Heavenly Emperor body. Lu Ming charged past them and approached Dandan rapidly. Kill! A purple-haired middle-aged man appeared in front of Lu Ming and slashed his sword towards Lu Ming. It was the royal member of the evil god tribe. One of his arms was cut off by Lu Ming and his storage bracelet was snatched away. He had been thinking about taking it back. At this moment, his arm had grown back. He seized the opportunity and charged towards Lu Ming. Get lost! Lu Ming shouted and slashed out. Clang! The two swords clashed and a violent explosion erupted. Lu Ming's figure was blocked and stopped. However, Lu Ming took another step and charged towards the royal member of the evil god tribe. It wasn't just the battle sword. His entire body was charging towards the other party. He didn't use any moves or skills at all. It was just a barbaric charge. Swoosh! Swoosh! The royal member of the evil god tribe stabbed out hundreds of times. The hundreds of sword lights were incomparably sharp. However, Lu Ming didn't seem to see them and charged forward. Those sword lights could only leave some shallow marks on Lu Ming's body. Bam! Lu Ming crashed into the royal member of the evil god tribe with his sword. The royal member of the evil god tribe grunted and was sent flying. As for Lu Ming, he charged past and successfully arrived near Dandan. Formation rise. He shouted boldly and waved his hands. Countless runes appeared and pieces of turtle shells appeared out of nowhere, enveloping Lu Ming and the royal member of the evil god tribe. Chapter 2380. Dandan controlled the array. Countless runes appeared and formed pieces of turtle shells. Like shields, they surrounded Lu Ming and Dandan in the middle. Boom, boom, boom. Just as the turtle shells rose, the attacks from all directions arrived. Every attack was launched by a peak great emperor, and was shockingly powerful. However, when they hit the turtle shells, they were blocked by the turtle shells. None of the attacks could break the turtle shells. Ha ha ha, you want to break the array that I set up. Although the time is short, it's still possible to set up an array to defend against you. Dandan laughed proudly. Damn it, watch me break your turtle shells. Break. The remaining peak great emperors shouted one after another. All of them unleashed their ultimate moves and attacked Dandan and Lu Ming. However, there were many turtle shells and they blocked all the gaps. When all the attacks landed on the turtle shells only shook but couldn't break them. Everyone attack 1 point. Someone shouted and wanted to focus everyone's attacks on 1 point to break the turtle shells. Swoosh. Swoosh. Suddenly, everyone's attacks were focused on one piece of turtle shell. Sure enough, this move worked. The tortoise shell shook violently, and then cracks appeared on its surface. Those people were overjoyed, but Dandan's face was very calm. There was even a hint of mockery. Boom. That tortoise shell was shattered and exploded. However, in the next moment, a new tortoise shell immediately condensed and took its place. Those people were stunned. Then, they were furious and attacked again. But it was useless. Every time they broke a piece of the turtle shell, a new one would float out of it. Dandan smiled faintly. His leisurely expression almost made those people vomit blood. After attacking for a while, there was no effect at all. Those people had no choice but to stop. What's the use of hiding in the turtle shells? We'll wait here. He'll come out sooner or later. Once he comes out, we'll tear them to pieces. The royal member of the evil god tribe said coldly. The others also revealed cold eyes. Have you forgotten what I said before? At this moment, the array genie in the air spoke. Her clear voice rang in everyone's ears. I've given you the items. Once you've received them, I'll send you out. I'll give you half an hour. After half an hour, I'll send all of you out at the same time. Half an hour, damn it. The other people's expressions greatly changed. Then they started to attack one after another, attacking Dandan and Lu Ming. They had to break through the Dandan's formation in half an hour. However, everything was futile. It was completely useless. There were even people who bombarded the void, smashing it into pieces in an attempt to destroy the foundation of the formation. However, this kind of formation that imprinted the runes in the void could not be broken at all. Unless one's strength was so strong that it could directly annihilate all the particles in the void, it would be possible to break the void. Time passed quickly and soon half an hour had passed. Alright, time's up. All of you can leave now. At this moment, the array genie spoke. After speaking, her body emitted a bright light. An incomparably powerful force acted on Lu Ming and the others. Boom. Their bodies were repelled by an incomparably powerful force. In an instant, they flew out of the statue and out of the void sacred island. At this moment, an incomparably terrifying and supreme force erupted from the statue and spread in all directions. Everyone on the void sacred island was pushed out of the void sacred island by this wave of power. However, the strange thing was that the demonic beasts and mutated beasts that originally lived on the void sacred island were not affected at all. Lu Ming was in the air, completely out of his control. It was as if he was in the sea, being pushed by a huge wave and flying backward at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he saw that in other directions of the void sacred island, figures were being pushed in all directions. The scene was extremely spectacular. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others were pushed to the edge of the void sacred island, and stood in the void. Only then did the force disappear. Many figures stood at the edge of the void sacred island. There were people from the evil god tribe, and also people from the heaven realm. Other than Lu Ming and a few others, most people looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. Ah! Suddenly, a miserable cry rang out. Someone had attacked. An evil god tribe member suddenly attacked and tore apart an elite from the heaven realm. This was because at the edge of the void sacred island, people from the evil god tribe and the heaven realm were mixed together. After being stunned for a short while, someone reacted and attacked. You're courting death. Immediately, someone from the heaven realm counterattacked. At the edge of the void sacred island, a chaotic battle broke out. Two 2-star and 3-star great emperors attacked Lu Ming, but they were killed by Lu Ming with a single punch. Dandan, let's go first. Lu Ming rushed toward Dandan because Dandan had appeared not far from him. Soon, the two of them met up and rushed out of the void, wanting to meet up with celestial Varch Hengyu. Stay here. With a loud roar, an evil god tribe member charged toward Lu Ming and Dandan with blazing eyes. This evil god tribe member was a peak great emperor. Previously, there were close to 20 peak great emperors left in the statues. However, they were scattered in all directions by that force. There was only one peak great emperor here. You want to keep me here alone? Die. Dandan's eyes flashed with malevolence as he charged toward this peak great emperor. As for Lu Ming, he had already kept the celestial Thearcha's body. Without the celestial Thearcha's body, he was naturally not a match for a peak great emperor. Hence, he did not attack. Boom. Boom. Dandan's battle prowess was extremely strong. After a few moves, the peak great emperor was beaten until he vomited blood. The other party was shocked and kept retreating, not daring to fight with Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Dandan met up and rushed out. Let's go. Now is not the time for a decisive battle. On the side of the heaven world, someone shouted and then flew out. The people of the evil god tribe did not dare to chase after them. This was because the people of the heaven world were flying in the direction of the heaven world's celestial Thearchs. If they chased after them, only death would await them. The people of the evil god tribe changed direction and flew in another direction. Slowly, the battle at the edge of the void sacred island stopped. Everyone chose a direction and left the void sacred island. Lu Ming and Dandan flew at extreme speed. The void sacred island was getting further and further away from them. It was also getting smaller and smaller. Finally, they saw the figures in front of them. They were the celestial Thearchs of the heaven world. There were more than 10 of them. Among them, Lu Ming saw celestial Varch Hengyu. These celestial Thearchs were looking at the void sacred island anxiously. Clearly, they had also sensed the changes on the void sacred island. Celestial Varch Hengyu's eyes lit up when he saw Lu Ming and flew over. Lu Ming, what happened on the void sacred island? Celestial Varch Hengyu asked. The other celestial Thearchs also looked over curiously. Chapter 2381. Senior Hengyu, this matter is complicated. Let's go back first. Lu Ming said. All right, I'll bring you back. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu nodded. He waved his hand and brought Lu Ming and Dandan back to the passage they came from. There was also a Heavenly Emperor guarding the passage. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu brought Lu Ming and Dandan into the passage and returned to the Grand Clear Sky domain. Lu Ming, wait for me here. I still have to bring the others back. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu said. There were many great emperors who entered the Void Sacred Island, but the number of heavenly emperors was limited. Naturally, each heavenly emperor had to make several trips. Senior Hengyu, how about this? We'll return to the Two-World City and wait for you. How about that? Lu Ming said. All right, you guys return to the Two-World City first. Heavenly Emperor Hengyu nodded and turned to enter the passage. As for Lu Ming and Dandan, they flew back to the Two-World City. Back when Heavenly Emperor Hengyu had brought them from Two-Realm City, it had only taken them an hour. However, their speed was naturally not as fast as Heavenly Emperor Hengyu's. The two of them had flown at full speed, yet it had taken them 2 days to reach Two-Realm City. In the Two-World City, Lu Ming lived in the courtyard. Lu Ming and Dandan began to divide the treasures they obtained. What they divided up was mainly the Heavenly Dao armament and the title plate. The two of them took out all the Heaven Dao soldiers. The two of them worked together to snatch 6 Heaven Dao soldiers. There was one more that was brought in by the Royal Evil God tribe. There were a total of 7 Heaven Dao soldiers. The 7 Heaven Dao soldiers emitted a terrifying aura. Dandan was so frightened that he quickly set up a formation to conceal the aura. There was also the token. Dandan, what do you choose? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. Dandan's eyes were burning with passion as he looked at the Heaven Dao soldiers and the token. He wanted to take them for himself. I'll study this token first. Dandan held the token in his hand and carefully studied it. However, Dandan used all kinds of methods, but to no avail. How could this be? Dandan was puzzled. Let me see. Lu Ming took the token and studied it carefully. However, he discovered that there was nothing special about this token other than its special material and its indestructible durability. A very ordinary command medallion. Is it really more important than a heavenly Dao weapon? Lu Ming was puzzled. Dandan was also scratching her head. She was also confused. Dandan, how about this? 7 heavenly Dao soldiers, 3 for each person, 4 for each person. But the 3 heavenly Dao soldiers, plus this command medallion, what do you think? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. All right, Dandan nodded, but his eyes darted around, obviously hesitating on what to choose. How about this? I'll take 3 heavenly Dao soldiers and this token. Lu Ming was the first to speak. You'll choose this token? Kid, you really know how to choose. Dandan gritted his teeth. Dandan, this token might not be useful at all. You've studied it before. I took it purely out of curiosity. How precious is a heavenly Dao soldier? I'll let you take one more. You'll benefit greatly. Lu Ming said. Go away, you're trying to fool a 3-year-old kid. This token is extremely mysterious. It's the last one taken out by the formation spirit. It might contain the secrets of heavenly Dao. Don't think that I don't know that you want to keep it for yourself. Dandan gritted his teeth and stared at the token, unwilling to look away. Dandan, how about this? I always feel that I'm fated with this token. I'll take it first. If I discover any secrets in the future, I'll definitely bring you along. How about that? Lu Ming said. He was indeed reluctant to give this token to Dandan. To be honest, he really had a feeling that this token might be of great use in the future. It was a kind of intuition. Dandan gritted his teeth. Obviously, he was still reluctant. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, Kid, if you discover any secrets in the future, you must tell me. Otherwise, I won't let you off. After that, Dandan began to choose from the 7 heavenly Dao soldiers. Dandan, this long spear suits me better. You can choose the rest. Lu Ming kept one of the long spears. Dandan did not mind. A heavenly Dao soldier in the form of a long spear was not of much use to him. In the end, Dandan chose 4 heavenly Dao soldiers and kept them. He left 2 for Lu Ming. As for the remaining 2 items, one was a battle sword and the other was a meteor hammer. Lu Ming kept all of them and was satisfied. This time he had obtained 3 heavenly Dao soldiers. This was a huge gain. Lu Ming, I'll be cultivating in 2 World City for this period of time. If you discover anything, remember to look for me. After Dandan put away the things, his figure flashed and left this place. Lu Ming smiled, then took out 2 storage rings and started checking. These 2 storage rings were obtained from that formation spirit. Lu Ming was very curious about what was inside. Lu Ming's spiritual sense swept over, and his eyes immediately lit up. The things inside the storage rings were very messy. There was everything. Raw stones, all kinds of refining materials, medicinal pills, and so on. Chaos stones. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In one of the storage rings, he discovered chaos stones. This time, the number was also shockingly many, a full 10,000 pieces. This was an astonishing gain. Also Great Dao fragments. Following that, Lu Ming discovered Great Dao fragments again. They were locked in a box, more than 100 pieces. Even if Lu Ming was mentally prepared, he was also overjoyed. If this wealth was taken out, it would make people go crazy. I'm rich, I'm really rich. Lu Ming's current wealth was already more than many heavenly emperors. 3 heavenly Dao soldiers was no joke. One had to know that most heavenly emperors did not have any heavenly Dao soldiers. This trip to the Void Sacred Island is really fruitful. Lu Ming sighed. This time, After cultivating on Void Sacred Island for 7 to 8 years, Lu Ming's progress in all aspects was very great. Of the 10 supreme laws, Lu Ming had already cultivated 8 to the 3rd realm. The other 3 supreme laws had also been cultivated to the 3rd realm. Moreover, Lu Ming had also cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious art to the middle of the 5th level, and his strength had increased comprehensively. It's a pity. If I had cultivated for a while more, I might have been able to successfully cultivate the remaining 2 supreme laws. Lu Ming sighed. Of the 10 supreme laws, the karma law was only at the entry level, and the destiny law was not yet at the entry level. The speed of comprehending laws in Void Sacred Island was dozens of times faster than outside. Lu Ming was really tempted. It was a pity that he would not be able to enter in the future. It's already very rare for me to have such a great gain. I can't be too greedy. Lu Ming smiled, then put away the items and sat down cross-legged. His soul entered the small world and began to comprehend the karma law. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. On this day, Eternal Universe Great Emperor arrived. Obviously, all the heavenly emperors who had entered Void Sacred Island had been brought out. Immediately, Lu Ming told Eternal Universe Great Emperor what had happened in Void Sacred Island. Chapter 2382. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu knew what happened in the Void Divine Island, and also sighed endlessly. Senior Hung Yu, this weapon is for you. Lu Ming's hand moved, and a battle sword appeared in his hand. It was precisely one of the 3 heavenly Dao weapons. This is a heavenly Dao weapon. The moment Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu saw this battle sword, his eyes suddenly lit up. Precisely. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, this heavenly Dao weapon is too precious. If you take it out to sell, the price will be immeasurable. I can't accept it. Although Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu was extremely moved, he still shook his head. This was what Lu Ming obtained by risking his life. How could he accept it? Senior Hung Yu, accept it. I had a great harvest this time. I also have a heavenly Dao weapon for my own use. This battle sword, I have no use for it either. Lu Ming said. Indeed, his harvest this time was great. All kinds of resources, there was everything he could desire. There was no need to sell a heavenly Dao weapon at all. He did not lack resources. Throughout his journey, the Hung Yu Celestial Tharch had been of great help to him, especially the Celestial Thearcha's physical body. He had helped Lu Ming avert danger many times. It was only right to give a heavenly Dao soldier to the Hung Yu Celestial Tharch. Seeing Lu Ming's firm attitude, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu hesitated for a bit and put it away. Lu Ming, whatever you need, feel free to say. If I can do it, I'll definitely do it for you. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. Senior Hung Yu is too serious. Lu Ming hurriedly said. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu carefully sized up the battle sword in his hand. The more he looked, the more he liked it. His face revealed a smile. His cultivation was at the 3-star Heavenly Emperor realm. With this heavenly Dao weapon, his combat power would skyrocket. Even if he encountered a 4-star Heavenly Emperor peerless powerhouse, as long as the other party did not have a heavenly Dao weapon, he could contend. In fact, he could even borrow the heavenly Dao contained in the heavenly Dao weapon to let his cultivation take a step further, breaking through the bottleneck, breaking through to 4-star Heavenly Emperor, becoming a peerless powerhouse, a heavenly realm Empyrean level figure. This heavenly Dao weapon was too useful to him. Only after a while did Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu put away the heavenly Dao weapon. Then he chatted with Lu Ming for a while and left. He needed to refine the heavenly Dao soldier as soon as possible so that he could unleash its power. After Heavenly Tharch Hung Yu left, Lu Ming made another trip to the Primal Chaos Hall and gave the remaining Heaven Dao weapon, the Meteor Hammer, to 2E. 2E was naturally overjoyed when he obtained the heavenly Dao weapon. Actually, the Primal Chaos Palace also had heavenly Dao soldiers left behind. However, there were only 2 of them and they were not suitable for 2E to use. One was in the hands of Gold One, and the other was in the hands of Thunder One. The others had long been envious. Now that Earth One got one, he was naturally overjoyed. He was very grateful to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled. 2E and the others were completely under his command. The stronger they were, the better it would be for him. After Lu Ming returned to his residence, he entered the mountain and river diagram with a thought. Then a spear appeared in his hand. This spear was the heavenly Tao weapon. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming erupted with all of his power. The power of his physical body, the power of the world, and the power of laws all erupted. The spear emitted a resplendent radiance as it swept out. The void instantly collapsed and shattered. Endless spatial storms howled. It was simply apocalyptic. Awesome, too awesome. After continuously brandishing it a few times, Lu Ming stopped. With his current cultivation, it was naturally impossible for him to unleash the power of the heavenly Tao soldier. It was also impossible for him to stimulate the power of the heavenly Tao inside. However, the material of the heavenly Tao soldier was sturdy and indestructible. Once it was activated, it was heavier than a mountain. Lu Ming could completely unleash all of his power without any restraint. Previously, Lu Ming condensed the Infinity Dragon Spear with laws, and could not fully unleash Lu Ming's power. At the very least, he could not fully unleash the power of his physical body. Once there was a collision that was too strong, the Infinity Dragon Spear would collapse. Therefore, Lu Ming would simply use his fists to fight most of the time. That way, he could unleash his strength more. But now, with this long spear, Lu Ming could unleash all of his power to his heart's content. Moreover, the long spear had more or less increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a few notches. On the handle of the long spear, there were 3 words: Great Spear of Desolation. Great Spear of Desolation. Accompany me in conquering the world. Lu Ming revealed a smile, and then put away the Great Spear of Desolation. After a while, I'll return to the Yuan realm to take a look. Lu Ming pondered. It had been many years since he entered the Heaven realm through the passageway of the Divine Wilderness Continent's 9 Dragons city. Now that his strength had improved rapidly, it was time to go back and take a look. Also, there were some debts that needed to be settled. For example, the Hung family, He family, and the Daoyuo Heaven sect in the Celestial City. The Mu family in the Divine Land. These people wanted to kill him in the past. It was time to settle the score. However, before Lu Ming returned, he planned to find Bubbles, Long Chun, Huang Ling, and the others. He now had too many resources in his hands and planned to give them some. This way, their cultivation speed would also increase. Lu Ming found a few acquaintances and asked them about Bubbles and the others. As he asked, he waited. At this moment, in a hall of the Lan family, the upper echelons of the Lan family and the Yen family were discussing matters. Lu Ming, you've gone too far. Lan Cheng, the heavenly emperor of the Lan family, let out a roar filled with endless killing intent. The other members of the Lan family were the same. However, while they were emitting killing intent, their eyes were also filled with fear. This was because they had already heard about the news of some great emperors of the Lan family being killed by Lu Ming in the Void Sacred Island. After all, there were many people who were still alive in the Heaven realm. When those people came out, they passed the news to the Lan family. When the upper echelons of the Lan family heard this news, they were shocked. They immediately gathered the upper echelons and the heavenly emperor of the Yen family to discuss matters. Family head, what should we do now? Someone asked Lan Cheng. Kill, we must kill him. We can't let Lu Ming grow. Otherwise, we'll all die. Lan Cheng said coldly. Fool. At this moment, an aged voice rang out, causing everyone's expression to change. In the next moment, a white-haired old man in coarse hemp clothes appeared in the hall. Everyone from the Lan family quickly stood up and bowed. Greetings, old ancestor. The heavenly emperor of the Yen family also stood up and bowed. Greetings, Lord Heavenly Sovereign. Those above the 4-star Heavenly Emperor were known as Heavenly Sovereigns. The old ancestor of the Lan family swept his gaze across the crowd and finally landed on Lan Cheng. Now you still want to kill Lu Ming? Old ancestor, Lu Ming has killed so many great emperors of the Lan family. How can we not kill him? If we let him continue like this, the Lan family will be in danger. Lan Cheng said. Oh, then tell me, how should we kill him? The old ancestor of the Lan family said. How? Lan Cheng was stunned. With Lu Ming's current strength, do you have the confidence to send great emperors? If great emperors are not confident, do you and I have to do it ourselves? If you and I do it, what if someone finds out? Won't the heavenly emperor behind Lu Ming go crazy? Also, now that everyone in the heaven realm knows that Lu Ming has a feud with the Lan family, if Lu Ming is secretly killed, won't others suspect that we did it? I'm afraid that the heavenly emperors behind him will also come directly to the Lan family. The old ancestor of the Lan family said coldly. Chapter 2384. It's been so many years since we last met. Your cultivation has improved quite quickly. Lu Ming patted Bubbles' head. After not seeing it for so many years, Lu Ming discovered that Bubbles' cultivation was about to reach the peak of the true emperor realm. Among the younger generation of the heaven realm, there were probably not many who could match it. This cultivation speed was already very terrifying. Of course, it was still incomparable to Dandan. After all, Dandan was the world turtle from ancient times. Although Bubble was one of the top 10 war beasts, it was a newborn. Everything had to be comprehended by itself. I can't compare to brother Lu Ming. Bubble hung on Lu Ming's neck and swayed back and forth. The Lan family and the Yen family are here. At this moment, a voice was heard. Many people looked in one direction. Over there, a group of people flew over. The leader was the Lan family's ancestor, a peerless expert. Behind the Lan family's ancestor was the Lan family's patriarch, Lan Cheng, and the Yen family's heavenly emperor. Behind them were some of the upper echelons of the two families. Almost all of the upper echelons of the Lan family and the Yen family had arrived. They landed on the square and walked towards Lu Ming. The Lan family's ancestor's face was full of smiles. He cupped his fists towards Lu Ming and said, "We're late. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming." "You're welcome," Lu Ming said with a faint smile on his face. "This old man won't talk too much. Today, I'm here to apologize to little brother Lu Ming. All these years, the Lan family has gone too far in some aspects and offended little brother Lu Ming. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming." The Lan family's ancestor cupped his fists. Even though they knew that the Lan family was going to apologize, many people were still stunned when they saw the Lan family's ancestor talking to Lu Ming in an amiable manner. They felt like they were in a dream. One had to know that the Lan family's ancestor was a peerless expert, a 4-star heavenly emperor. This kind of character was already standing at the peak of the world with shocking battle prowess. But now he was humbly apologizing to a junior. This was rare even since ancient times. However, Lu Ming did not want to accept the other party's apology so easily. "Oh, I would like to know, in what way did you offend me? Lan family head. Why don't you help me remember?" Lu Ming sneered and looked at Lan City. Lan Cheng's face turned ugly. However, he still tried his best to squeeze out a smile. He stepped forward and said, "The Lan clan has indeed offended little brother Lu Ming in some ways in the past. Please forgive us." "Forgive? You said it so casually. Let me ask you, what did you do to offend me? Tell me clearly. Can't you understand?" Lu Ming said coldly. Lan Cheng's anger soared to the sky. If any other junior dared to speak to him in such a manner, he would have slapped them to death. But he didn't dare to do that to Lu Ming. He dared to bet that there were likely quite a few heavenly emperor characters in the vicinity. The moment he made a move, the one who would be smacked to death would be him. In the end, he could only suppress his anger and answer honestly. "Back then it was my Lan clan's heaven's pride, Blue Cloud, who offended little brother Lu Ming." He repeatedly targeted little brother Lu Ming, resulting in a grudge between both sides. Lan Cheng answered honestly. "What else?" Lu Ming asked. Also back then, I was blinded by greed and coveted your indestructible ancient scripture. In the battlefield outside Two World City, I sent people to kill you." Lan Cheng clenched his teeth and spoke about this matter. He knew that the reason Lu Ming asked them to apologize in public was to make everything public. If he did not say it today, Lu Ming would definitely not let it go. As soon as these words came out, the crowd was in an uproar. Back then, the Lan clan said that Lu Ming killed Heavenly World's experts in the true Emperor battlefield to obtain treasures. All of this was a false accusation. Everything was because Lan Cheng and the Yen clan's Heavenly Emperor coveted Lu Ming's indestructible ancient scripture, and wanted to kill Lu Ming. Despicable, really despicable. So this is the face of the Long clan. Despicable villain. We were all deceived by him. I already knew that Lu Ming would not do such a thing. Many people roared and glared at the Long clan. Lan Cheng gritted his teeth, but now such a bitter fruit could only be swallowed by himself. Who asked him to offend a freak like Lu Ming? Lan clan has offended you. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming. Yan clan has offended you. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming. Lan Cheng and the Yan clan's heavenly emperor cupped their fists and bowed to Lu Ming. Little brother Lu Ming, this is a little gift from the Lan clan and Yan clan. Please accept it. Lan clan's old ancestor smiled and took out a storage ring. With a wave of his hand, the storage ring slowly flew to Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and took it. He scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and found that there were exactly 500 chaos stones inside. Remember, I won't offend people if they don't offend me. The past can be written off, but if you offend me again in the future, I will destroy your entire clan. Lu Ming kept the storage ring and turned to leave, no longer looking at the Lan clan and the Yan clan. Huangling, Long Chun, brother Ouyang. How about we go for a drink? Today's harvest is not bad. Lu Ming looked at Long Chun, Huangling, and the rest. My hair, drink, drink, and drink to your heart's content. Unscrupulous monk was the first to shout. You monk, what are you drinking for? Huangli despised. Everyone laughed, and the group of young people left amidst the laughter. Lu Ming bought a large amount of wine and came to Lu Ming's residence. Lu Ming took out a lot of divine beast meat. Over the years, Lu Ming had hoarded a lot of divine beast meat, all of which were at least emperor grade. Everyone began to eat, and soon the place was filled with the fragrance of meat. Everyone ate the meat and drank big bowls of wine, chatting about the interesting things they had encountered over the years. During this time, Lu Ming took out a large amount of resources and distributed them to everyone. For example, supreme grade origin stones, primordial stones, and chaos stones. Everyone began to refuse because they were too precious. But when Lu Ming took out a pile of them, they did not refuse and each of them took some. These resources could indeed greatly increase their cultivation speed. It was not until the evening of the second day that everyone dispersed. It's time to return to the primordial realm. Lu Ming whispered, and then found Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu to ask for the way back to the primordial realm. It was relatively easy to go to the primordial realm in the Grand Pure Sky domain, because there were many passageways. Two Realm City had such a passageway. Lu Ming came to a valley alone with Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu. Here there were powerhouses standing guard. In the valley, the space was extremely unstable. Spatial rifts constantly appeared, and one could clearly see that behind the spatial rifts was a void passageway. This passageway was not big, but it was enough to accommodate dozens of people passing through at the same time. Senior Heng Yu, take care. Lu Ming cupped his fists, then took a step out and entered the spatial rift. In a flash, Lu Ming arrived in the void passageway. Lu Ming stepped forward. It was as if he could see the endless void passing by him. No idea how long had passed. Light appeared in front. Lu Ming rushed out and discovered that he was standing high in the sky. Below was a boundless land. Chapter 2385. Lu Ming stood in the sky and looked around. Below him were vast mountains. According to what Senior Hung Yu said, this should be the Yuan Mountain land. I don't know where it is. I need to find a place with people and ask. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's figure moved. He broke through the space and shuttled through the void at an extremely fast speed. After a few minutes, Lu Ming saw a city. He went in and asked around. He found out that it was the north of the Yuan Mountain land. Lu Ming found a big force nearby and used their teleportation formation to go to the ancient Moon Sacred Ground, one of the 9 sacred grounds in the Yuan Mountain land. It did not take long for Lu Ming to return to the ancient Moon Sacred Ground. When Lu Ming walked out of the teleportation formation outside the ancient Moon Sacred Ground, it immediately caused an uproar, and he was recognized by the people nearby. Lu Ming was too famous in the ancient Moon Sacred Ground. In the past, Lu Ming joined forces with more than 10 big forces in the ancient Moon Sacred Ground to destroy the Feng clan, Sky Wolf Tower, Golden Crow Clan, One Clan and other big forces. It caused the ancient moon's sacred ground to be reshuffled, and changed the structure of the ancient moon's sacred ground. Lu Ming was known by everyone in the ancient moon's sacred ground. However, Lu Ming disappeared after that. After so many years, Lu Ming's reappearance naturally caused a stir. Not long after, all the forces in the ancient moon's sacred ground knew that Lu Ming had returned. At this time, Lu Ming had arrived at the Great Pill Development Hall and met Uncle Kong. After so many years, Uncle Kong seemed to have aged and his face was filled with wrinkles. Uncle Kong's cultivation was most likely at the 2-star martial monarch realm, but according to him, he had been severely injured in the previous tribulation, which had damaged his foundation. As such, his strength was only slightly stronger than a 1-star martial monarch, but not by much. Otherwise, Great Emperor Tian Luo of the Daluo Heaven sect would not dare to be arrogant in front of Uncle Kong. Now, Uncle Kong was only a few years away from the next Heaven's tribulation. With his current state, he could not pass it. Palace Master, your cultivation. As soon as Uncle Kong saw Lu Ming, he could feel that Lu Ming was not ordinary. Although Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the true Emperor realm, his qi and blood were extremely dense. He was like an ancient beast, giving off a terrifying aura. Even Uncle Kong could feel the immense pressure coming from it. This caused Uncle Kong to be extremely shocked, but at the same time he was overjoyed. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier he would be. Uncle Kong, some time ago, I went to the Heaven realm and had a fortuitous encounter. I cultivated the archaic body cultivation, and my physical body is now equivalent to the Emperor realm. Lu Ming gave a simple explanation, and Uncle Kong became even more delighted. Uncle Kong, has the Mu clan come looking for trouble all these years? Lu Ming asked. Back then, a great emperor from the Mu clan had died here. He had always been afraid that the Mu clan would come looking for trouble. The Mu clan is here to seek revenge for the Mu clan's emperor, but a powerful force has interfered in the Divine Fate Land. The Mu clan has been wary of the Divine Fate Land for many years, so they haven't done anything yet. Uncle Kong explained. Lu Ming nodded and said, It's fine if the Mu clan doesn't come, but if they don't give up, I'll have to pay them a visit. With that, a storage ring appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he handed it over to Uncle Kong. Uncle Kong, this is for you. This is... Uncle Kong took the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual sense, and his eyes widened. Grand Dao Fragment. This is a Grand Dao Fragment. Palace Master, it's a waste to give such a treasure to an old man like me. You should keep it for yourself. Uncle Kong quickly handed the storage ring over to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and said, Uncle Kong, take it. I have a lot of Grand Dao fragments, and it's enough for me to use. Uncle Kong wanted to return the Grand Dao fragment to Lu Ming, but Lu Ming's attitude was firm. In the end, Uncle Kong accepted the Grand Dao fragment. Lu Ming gave Uncle Kong a total of 18 Grand Dao fragments, enough for him to break through to the 3-star Great Emperor realm, or even the 4-star Great Emperor realm. As long as Uncle Kong's cultivation broke through, his injuries would naturally heal, and he would be able to survive the next heavenly tribulation. Next, Huang Xiaolong chatted with Uncle Kong for a while. The next day, Lu Ming went to meet some old friends. In the ancient moon's sacred ground, Lu Ming still had some friends, such as Mu Qingxue, Yi Dongfang, and the others. Their talents were limited, and they did not go to the heavenly world. Lu Ming stayed in the ancient moon's sacred ground for more than 10 days, and he talked about martial arts with these friends. With Lu Ming's current cultivation realm and understanding of the laws, Yi Dongfang and the others were unfathomable. Lu Ming's casual pointers were enough to enlighten them, and they benefited greatly. More than 10 days later, Lu Ming left some resources for Yi Dongfang and the others, and then bid farewell to Uncle Kong. He left the ancient moon's sacred ground and headed to Tsang State. The most important thing for him to do was to return to Tsang State and the divine wilderness, and then move his family and friends to a place of cultivation. A few days after Lu Ming returned to the ancient moon's sacred ground, the news spread to the Hung clan, and He clan in the Celestial City, and the Daluo Heaven sect in the ancient sun's sacred ground. The He clan and Hung clan were originally sworn enemies, but now, They had gathered to discuss matters. In a hall in the Hung clan, the great emperors of the He clan, Hung clan, and Tianluo great emperor sat. Lu Ming has disappeared for many years. Now that he has reappeared, I'm afraid it's not good for us. The great emperor of the Hung clan said with a grave expression. Lu Ming can't become an emperor, so he's not afraid. However, he can control the heavenly emperor's body, which is indeed troublesome. Tianluo great emperor said. Back then, he had seen the power of the heavenly emperor's body. Even the two-star great emperor of the Mu clan was killed. Then what should we do? Back then, we wanted to kill him, and Lu Ming is our sworn enemy. He will definitely not let us go. The great emperor of the He clan said. The three of them had a grave expression, not knowing what to do at that moment. The three of them were one-star great emperors, but Lu Ming could control the heavenly emperor's body and kill a two-star great emperor. Even if they joined forces, it would still be dangerous. At this moment, someone outside reported that there was important news. The great emperor of the Hung clan asked the person to come in. Patriarch, young master Xinghe is back. An old man came in and said excitedly. Xinghe is back. Quick, let him in. The great emperor of the Hung clan was overjoyed. Hung Xinghe had gone to the heaven domain for a few decades. Now that he had returned, the great emperor of the Hung clan was looking forward to it. The three of them went out to welcome him, and soon they saw Xinghe. Xinghe stood alone with his hands behind his back, exuding a sense of superiority. The three great emperors are here. Great. Seeing the three great emperors, Hung Xinghe only nodded faintly, without the respect he had in the past. In the heaven domain, he had seen too many great emperors, including heavenly emperors. Naturally, he didn't have the same respect for great emperors. The three great emperors of the Hung clan didn't find it strange because when Lu Ming saw Xinghe, he was shocked. True emperor, Xinghe, you have broken through to the true emperor realm? The great emperor of the Hung clan said excitedly. Not long ago. Hung Xinghe nodded with a faint pride on his face. Great. Ha. The great emperor of the Hung clan laughed excitedly. On the side, the great emperors of the He clan and Tianluo great emperor were envious. Reaching the true emperor realm at such a young age, such talent was simply amazing. In the future, he would definitely break through to the great emperor realm or even higher. Chapter 2386. Xinghe, didn't I son Sangqiong come back with you? Tianluo great emperor asked with some anticipation. Since Xinghe had become a true emperor, his grandson Luo Sangqiong must have reached a higher realm. Luo Sangqiong is dead. Xinghe said faintly. What? Tianluo great emperor was shocked, and his pupils shrank rapidly. In the next moment, his eyes turned red as he roared. Sangqiong is dead? How is that possible? How did he die? He was killed by Lu Ming. Xinghe said. He did not lie about this. Luo Sangqiong was indeed killed by Lu Ming in Alcade Ancient City. Lu Ming again. Tianluo great emperor roared. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with endless murderous intent. Lu Ming. Two of his Daoyuo heaven sex geniuses had died in the hands of Lu Ming. Back then he was also injured because of Lu Ming. Damn it. Tianluo great emperor roared in his heart. Of course, he did not care why Luo Sangqiong and the others died in the hands of Lu Ming. Today all of you are gathered here because of Lu Ming. I heard that Lu Ming has also returned to the Yuan realm, right? Xinghe continued. Returned to the Yuan realm? What do you mean? Did Lu Ming also go to the heaven realm? Great Emperor Heng's expression changed. That's right. Xinghe nodded. How is that possible? Didn't they say that Lu Ming can't become an emperor and go to the heaven realm? How did he go there? Great Emperor Hung, Great Emperor He, and the others were extremely surprised. I don't know how he went to the heaven realm, but he did go there. Otherwise, how could Luo Sangqiong die in his hands? Moreover, Lu Ming has already become an emperor in the heaven realm. Xinghe said with a gloomy face. What? Lu Ming has become an emperor? How is that possible? He has mastered many different supreme laws at the same time. Even the heavenly emperor said that he can't become an emperor. How did he become an emperor? The three heavenly emperors exclaimed in shock. Not only did he become an emperor, but Lu Ming's strength is also an emperor now, Xinghe said. Hiss, this time the Hung clan, He clan and Tianluo great emperor sucked in a breath of cold air. They couldn't be more shocked. Not only had Lu Ming become an emperor, but he could also fight with a great emperor. What kind of freak was this? They could not calm? What now? Great and the others. And they become anxious. They Xian, they become them great they. Emperor Ming return? SS. They became more anxious. Emperor become an. Xinghe had been hiding emperor. Hiding. For example, Lu Ming's combat strength. Recently, there were rumors that Lu Ming's combat strength was enough to kill a 4-star great emperor. Hung Xinghe did not say it out loud as he was afraid it would frighten great emperor Hung and the others. Lu Ming is too overpowered. If we allow him to grow, we will be the ones to die in the future. So, we have to get rid of him before he becomes too strong. Xinghe's eyes shone with a cold light. Get rid of him? How? Lu Ming's combat strength is comparable to a great emperor, and he has the body of a heavenly emperor. How can we get rid of him with our strength? Great Emperor Hung said anxiously. Great Emperor He and Great Emperor Tianluo were the same. All of them wanted to kill Lu Ming, but given their abilities, they could not do so at all. We can find help. Isn't Lu Ming and the Mu clan in the God's Fate land sworn enemies? We can borrow the strength of the Mu clan to get rid of Lu Ming. Xinghe River. Everyone's eyes lit up. Yes. The Mu clan sent a great emperor to the ancient moon sacred ground to kill him, but he was killed by Lu Ming with the body of a heavenly emperor. Mu Yang, the peerless genius of the Mu clan, also died in Lu Ming's hands. The Mu clan probably wants to get rid of Lu Ming more than us. We can contact the Mu clan, and they will definitely help us. Great Emperor Tianluo said excitedly. Luo Tsangqiong died in the hands of Lu Ming. Great Emperor Tianluo's desire to kill Lu Ming was extremely strong. Does Lu Ming have any backing in the heaven domain? Will there be any trouble after we kill him? Great Emperor Hung was more careful. Don't worry. I have a master in the heaven domain. He's a heavenly emperor expert. Although it's not convenient for him to do anything, he will help us deal with the aftermath. Nothing will happen. Xinghe River. What? Xinghe, you have a heavenly emperor as your master? Good. Ha. Great Emperor Hung laughed excitedly. Great Emperor He clan and Great Emperor Tianluo could only be envious. Since Xinghe's master was a heavenly emperor, they were more confident. They began to make preparations to contact the Mu clan to discuss how to kill Lu Ming. That night, Xinghe came to a secret place in Celestial City to meet an old man. This old man was Xinghe's master, a heavenly emperor expert. In the heaven domain, this old man was known as the Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor. Is it done? The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor asked. It's done. The great emperors of the Hung clan, He clan and Daoyuo Heaven sect will join forces with the Mu clan to kill Lu Ming. Xinghe River. That's good. The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor nodded with satisfaction. Master, Lu Ming's performance in the Void Divine Island is amazing. With his current strength, even with the Mu clan, it won't be easy to kill Lu Ming. Xinghe River. I don't intend to let them kill Lu Ming. I just want them to test whether Lu Ming has a heavenly emperor by his side. If he doesn't, I will kill him myself. The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor said with a cold light in his eyes. Master, there are more than a dozen heavenly emperors behind Lu Ming. Even if we kill him, those heavenly emperors won't let us go. And the Hung clan, I'm afraid they will be destroyed. Xinghe said with some hesitation. Stupid. You are still soft-hearted. How can there be no sacrifice if you want to achieve great things? Every man for himself. Is the Hung clan more important, or your own future more important? The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor scolded. Xinghe's face changed and showed a trace of ruthlessness. He said, Master, I understand. Yes, it's inevitable to make some sacrifices in order to achieve great things. Lu Ming has great luck. I'm afraid he must have encountered countless fortuitous encounters along the way. As long as I kill him and obtain his fortuitous encounters, I'll extract the indestructible ancient sutra from his soul. By then, we can find a place to hide. Who would be able to find us? We will hide and cultivate. Regardless of the evil god tribe and the heaven realm fighting to the death, as long as we achieve great success in our divine skill, we will have invincible strength. At that time, no matter who is in charge of this world, there will be a place for us. The nine-demon heavenly emperor said as the cold light in his eyes became more intense. Master, I will listen to all your orders. Xinghe's eyes were full of anticipation. Lu Ming, all your fortuitous encounters will belong to me. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.